Welcome to India Ideas, the show which is all about science and tech, innovation and entrepreneurship. I'm Gautam Roy. India's digital revolution, coupled with its financial inclusion drive, has led to an explosion of e-payments and mushrooming of over 70 fintechs in that subsector. The country's Unified Payments Interface, or UPI, is also spreading its footprint in foreign lands, which presents a global business opportunity for Indian fintechs. And this is what we're showcasing today. For the last 2 months of this year, that is October and November, the number of India's Unified Payments Interface, or UPI, transactions have been over 11 billion. The transactions in November were worth nearly $209 billion. India's payments landscape is expected to reach 100 trillion in transaction volume by 2030. And with the UPI and RuPay card widening its footprint across the globe rapidly, the sky is the limit. Let's talk about what kind of a business opportunity does this present for India's payments fintechs today. Joining us are Ritesh Shukla, CEO, NPCI International Payments Limited, or NIPL, which is a subsidiary of National Payments Corporation of India, focused on transforming payments across the globe with the use of technology and innovation. We've also got Manish Kumar Shukla, founder, Check UPI, which says it's India's first UPI-enabled payment wallet app for foreign nationals and NRIs. And we also have Mitesh Shah with us, co-founder Inflection Point Ventures, which is an angel investment platform which brings investors together from across India and even abroad. It's sector and region agnostic, investing in 170 plus startups, some of which are even in the payments fintech space. Welcome to you all. Let me start with you, Ritesh. It's almost every day now that we keep hearing of an update where UPI's spreading foreign footprint is concerned. What's the latest now, and what does it mean for India's payments fintechs?
Thank you, Gautamji, for the opportunity. Like you said, we are building rails to connect foreign countries with India. And as of today, we are live in 6 countries for merchant payments, which would mean that travelers from India can make merchant payments in these 6 markets. And we have a very healthy pipeline for other markets, which are going to go live in next 3 to 12 months. So we'll have many markets where payment instruments from India, be it UPI or RuPay cards, will be acceptable. And this is an evolving space which presents significant amount of potential for fintechs from India. We all know that GDP in India is rising, and that would mean that the per capita income for Indians would also rise. And with rising per capita income, the discretionary spends will increase, which will lead to a greater amount of travel and also greater amount of shopping. And with us establishing these connections, I think it will only lead to increase in number of consumers, as well as it will lead to increase in higher number of cross-border transactions and cross-border spends, which actually presents great opportunity for fintechs and apps from India who are part of UPI ecosystem. And serve cross-border use case. And every cross-border transaction is also going to be a profitable transaction, wherein whatever revenues we generate, we will share equally with the ecosystem here in India. So it's a very exciting space in summary, and a lot is going to happen. And I think, fintechs who are directly interacting with consumers in India, because UPI is a B2B platform, so they are going to have a very exciting times.
Okay, and buzz the last few days has been that pretty soon on UPI, one would be able to do USD transactions as well. Is that correct? Where do we stand on that?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
The buzz the last few days has been that one will be able to do UPI transactions in US dollars as well pretty soon. Is that correct? How far are we on that?
So, US as a market, is not evolved so much for the QR-based payments, but we are keeping a very close watch, and we are working with players who are going to be relevant in this space. And as we create foothold, that is going to happen as well. But it's a bit some time away. QR payments, if you see, are more popular in Southeast Asia, North Asia, and Middle East region. So we are focusing on those markets for UPI QR-based payments.
Okay, sounds good. Now, Manish, tell us first about Check UPI. What made you think of getting into this space? The company got incorporated in 2021 when the Omicron wave had crippled foreign travel. Now, how did your platform get off the ground, and how has the journey been so far?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank you for having me here.
You're most welcome.
About Check UPI. Check UPI has the vision of eliminating cash from Indian digital payment sector. So one of the key thing was to give digital payment platform to foreign nationals. Because still foreign nationals were waiting in lines of ATM queues, and they had to depend on cash largely. So we wanted to give them a home-like experience, that as if they are Indian. So we have our motto that when in India, pay like an Indian. So this brings us to this large opportunity. So to just give you the numbers, that there are around about 10 million foreign nationals traveling to India every year. And even if you remove the cost for their air travel and others, they would be spending around $1,000 to $2,000 while they are in India in just small purchases like their hotels, the food, or other things. So this brings like around about 10 to 20 billion market opportunity for foreign nationals. So it's pretty much a very exciting space and exciting time to be working on UPI and like taking it global. And for taking UPI global to other countries, one of the key part is giving people who are coming from outside countries to India a great experience on how UPI works. They take this experience back home, and they want to use UPI in their home countries. And yeah, so the other thing which you asked was about why did we start it when there was an Omicron wave in 2021. So I must say that at that time, we were definitely not working on foreign nationals as a target audience. But me and my co-founder, Sudhanshu, started in 2021 with the vision that UPI as a payment platform has solved several problems. But the requirement is that you need to have a savings account. And at that time, the linking of overdraft or credit card were not available. So we found this, that if you have to expand the horizons of UPI to other sectors, underserved markets, you have to work on the layer where the funds are being held. And if you work on that layer, then you are able to expand the horizons of like the scope of UPI to other sectors. So the example could be foreign national is one such example. You could be giving it to teens. You could plug in your credit card, and then you have credit on UPI on top of it. There's several other things. You could give end use control wallet to corporates as a corporate expense card. So there's several use cases which are on top of it. We started with a checking account for Indian nationals, and when the regulation came in February 23, we moved to the foreign national sector. So because at that time India had got the G20 presidency, and like the buzz was that UPI has to go global, and it's doing really good. And on top of it, the unit economics is way better for that.
All right. Now, Mitesh, tell us about your payments fintech investments so far. What made you think that you could bet on them? And do you feel that in the coming months and days, you probably have to set aside a larger chunk of your funds for this subsector?
Well, with every year, it feels like, fintech, we have seen everything that is possible with fintech. But kudos to institutions like NPCI and credit to RBI as well. We never fail to surprise, VC community like us with the innovation in this field. So always open, with our checks to invest into fintech ideas. We've already done quite a lot in this space across, payment space, across foreign investment space, across, the escrow space, and not many others, right? We have had some great success with fintech investment, but continue to be bullish on this sector. I think it's the sheer consumption power that India commands. It's the sheer transaction power that India drives. Right, and platform like UPI, kind of providing the highway in terms of the infrastructure for this traffic to kind of carry. So we are always very bullish on fintech. Just a piece of caution over there is that idea is that not many are able to kind of look at the monetization part, and that we see are something we're very careful about when we evaluate an idea in the fintech space. Important to kind of understand. Ultimately, it's all about kind of making strong unit economics. So where's the money going to come from? Absolutely kind of sold on the India story overall and the fintech part of it.
Yeah, I'll be asking Manish about that as well. But let me go back to Ritesh for the time being. Now, Ritesh, seamless transactions have become part of our daily lives as Indians. How is it being ensured that the same sort of user experience is also being taken to different countries across the world where systems are different with varied intermediaries? Is it challenging, or is it not as complicated as it may seem to a person like me?
So, like you said, I think NPCI as an organization has done a tremendous job of driving standardization here in India, and it's done with such simplicity that even a common person has embraced digital payments, and everybody has collaborated to make it reach the point where it is. Now, when we are engaging with parties or similar to NPCI in international markets, there are some variations that we have to account for, but in general I think we are looking at keeping the user experience very much uniform. And these variations are like, for example, in India you see a lot of static QRs at merchant establishments. I mean, so wherein a printout is there, QR printout is displayed at merchant establishments. But in some markets, when you look at globally, where the retail is a bit more organized, it's difficult to put static QR, and in those places, we will have to go by dynamic QR, which will be displayed on the POS terminal. So a user will have to, read the QR code from the terminal, POS terminal, or the device. Now, this is one such variation, and here I think to kind of address these kind of variations, I would say we'll have to work closely with the fintechs, with the apps who are directly interfacing with consumers in terms of creating awareness, in terms of building education on how to use and avail the rails or services that we are creating. So a short answer, there may be some variations, but our effort is to make the whole experience uniform. And wherever there are variations, we will work with the app providers here from India, and as well as the merchant community in that market, to ensure that there is enough visibility and awareness about on how to use the rails or the connections that we make.
Yeah, it doesn't sound very different with that example. If it's a sticker on the screen or the QR code is on a device, on the POS machine or anything else, as it said in Hindi, 19-20 ka fark hai. It sounds like that. Now, Manish, what are the unit economics for this product, your product for foreigners? Tell us, how are you acquiring foreign nationals? How challenging is it to compare, when you compare it with getting Indian users on board? And how do you plan to scale up your business?
Sure. So the unit economics surprisingly is better than what we see for Indian users, largely because of high spending power by foreign nationals. So they come here, and within a short span of time, they'll be spending around about $1,000 to $1,500, which is like around about 70,000 to 1 lakh rupees. Apart from that, since foreign nationals also value comfort and convenience, we charge a small activation fees. They are more than willing to pay that for. Yeah, $10 is what the activation fee is, what we charge. And most of the users, they are more than happy to pay that for the convenience which they get. The convenience is largely that they can access their own money, which is in their US or UK account, anywhere in India. So by simply topping up our wallet anywhere in India, and you can spend on UPI framework in India. So the convenience which they get, they don't have to wait for any, they don't have to go to any money changer, or they don't have to depend on acceptance of the card here in India. So in remote part of a country, cards are not that highly accepted. So the unit economics surprisingly is better for that. Coming to how we are acquiring users, we have a mix of product-led growth, largely driving word of mouth in the community. And the initial set of users were the expats who were already living in India. So they had seen other Indians using UPI, and they were not able to use. So they were the people to identify the pain point early, and they started spreading the word in their communities. And so the word of mouth started spreading from there. Apart from that, we use performance marketing. we also understand that when someone is coming from a different country, they would have a very different context of what digital payments mean. Even the words like UPI are new to several foreign nationals. Along with the user interface, they are very well versed with. So all these things are very new. Some people require definitely initial set of training to be given to understand what P2P is, what P2M is, what is a dynamic QR, what is a static QR, so that they can understand and very well use the app and understand the constraints also, that where they cannot use the application today. So yep. In terms of scaling the business and moving to new parts, we also plan to have corporate partnerships with various players, like you can say large MNCs for whom foreign nationals keep coming to India very frequently. So they have a independent of season. So tourism is largely seasonal activity.
Yes.
Apart from that, these people would be they're perpetual. They'll be coming all year round. So we are looking for several partnerships with the corporate so that we can serve them better, and we can provide their users with a very good experience here in India.
Wonderful. Sounds good. Now, Midesh, to what extent is the attractiveness of a startup boosted in the eyes of VCs like yours if they happen to be profitable or have a visible path to profitability? Does the monetization potential of a subsector like payments fintech make it overall more bankable compared to some other sectors?
Well, path to profitability is very important. I think we strongly believe that initially in the growth phase, the monetization or profitability might not be so much important when you compare with the growth phase or the growth rate. Eventually, I think every startup actually coincide with the conventional businesses also in these terms, where monetization and profitability are important. We believe that with fintech also there is quite a lot of scope. I think Manish just spoke about partnerships and a lot of other avenues where monetization is not that difficult. I mean, as a country, Indians are somebody where we don't mind paying for value-added services if the service is kind of solved for a genuine problem. So I think it's just about innovative solution, riding on strong products like UPI and providing these value-added services where monetization should not be that difficult. It's just about strong unit economics, keeping your fixed expenses under control. And that's where I think profitability will be driven. Having said that, we invest in a lot of pre-revenue or sometimes even pre-product ideas. So if the idea, the potential is disruptive enough where it's solving for a larger problem, then obviously we don't mind even waiting for monetization to come. It's just about having that particular strategy in the mind of the founder and the execution skill. At the end of the day, ideas are dime a dozen. The success lies in execution.
Definitely. Now, Ritesh, apart from payments, the potential of UPIs in remittances is also pretty huge. UPI already costs less compared to using credit or forex cards or buying forex in cash. What's being done to maintain its advantage where remittances are concerned, and what is the scope there?
I think you made a very important comment. We are about 30 million outside India, so which is probably as big or more than the population of Australia or Malaysia or even Saudi Arabia, and there is about over 100 billion that comes in from these 30 million Indians who reside outside India. And at the same time, we have about 20 to 25 billion going out from India to rest of the world, and this is primarily for students who are living in countries like Canada, Australia, US, and also we have inward as well as outward opportunity. And here we have already made humble beginning. We have connected UPI with Pay Now in Singapore. We have successfully completed the pilot under the supervision and guidance of Reserve Bank of India. So there were 6 banks that were part of the pilot. It has been completed, and now we are looking at scaling up the base to include more banks, and that will create a larger footprint for consumers who want to send money to Singapore or who want to receive money from Singapore. Now, given the experience that we have had, we are looking at creating similar partnerships with other countries of relevance. We know where Indians reside, typically maybe for work or for businesses or even for study purposes. So we have identified those corridors, and we have also identified players that we will need to connect to enable real-time money movement in a very efficient and simple manner. And we are working. We are working with those partners to kind of scope out the opportunity and to kind of move forward in this space. This is a slightly time-consuming process because every system is designed differently, and we have to figure out a way for the two systems to talk on a real-time basis and have a uniform user experience. So yeah, this is a very, very important area for us to focus and build upon, and we are working in this area. And in times to come, we will have great real-time connections in the relevant corridors where there is existing flow of money from one country to India.
Well, Godspeed in that department as well. Now, Manish, what sort of challenges did you come across in setting up your business, and what kind of challenges do you anticipate you'll encounter in the days to come as you grow? For instance, the apprehension is that Gen AI, deepfakes and cyber attacks are already making the business of all fintechs and even banks quite complicated going forward.
Yeah, definitely. There are several challenges while we are scaling the business. Before we come to the technology challenges of Gen AI, so with respect to what we are today doing, that is with respect to foreign nationals UPI, we definitely see there are product-related challenges. So just to give you an overview, people cannot do a P2P payment, that is a person-to-person payment. And teaching this thing takes a lot of time. And also, there are challenges in terms of business opportunities. So as I already mentioned, that tourism is a seasonal thing. And you cannot back on just on a seasonal target audience. You have to back on something which is perpetual. So corporate partnerships become one. So we also have other offerings for foreign nationals like eSIMs for travel insurance. So those are the kind of offerings which will be expand and give you a holistic travel experience while you are in India. Apart from that, we also plan to give Indian nationals some sort of a corporate expense card offering, so that our user base is stronger with Indian nationals as well as foreign nationals. So these are the kind of challenges, and the kind of technology challenges you mentioned, like Gen AI, cyber attacks. So for generative AI, I feel like it's more of a tool for me right now to be more productive. So by that I mean the work which was being done by 100 people earlier is now being done by 10 people. So that improves my unit economics. That reduces the load for getting a huge support team or an operations team. Although I do feel that in the coming years, the challenge could be even bigger, and whatever we produce as a stack could be replicated by AI very soon. But that day is far in my understanding. So Gen AI for me is a good tool to enhance productivity and to improve the unit economics for me. Compared for cyber attacks and other things. So I would say social engineering and cyber attacks combined do pose a big challenge even for UPI. So we frequently see we frequently see chargebacks and disputes being raised. Some people calling you and saying that, okay, I'm this merchant, I'll be giving you a particular service, and later on they disappear. And for foreign nationals, it becomes even more challenging because once they have left the country, there are limited ways they can get the money back. So the ecosystem as a whole need to come together for solving cyber security related things. This is because if we have a central repository for, let's say, flagged users, flagged VPAs, IP addresses, determining the risks of the transaction as well as the risk of the identity of the person. So that can help the ecosystem in this entirety.
Yeah, because the entire fintech and the banking sector is dependent on doing the know your customer kind of verification, where I guess deepfakes could also upset the apple cart. Now, Mitesh, how critical is it for VCs to evaluate startups based on how safe and secure is their business from such external and even internal challenges such as corporate governance? How do you think does the payment subsector measure up compared to other sectors?
Well, very important. While innovation, disruption are the key, and ultimately we invest in a business for the growth potential of it and the overall TAM. But unless this is governed through proper governance measures and all, we have seen quite a few examples of governance being compromised with few of the large startups as well. And that has resulted in some loss of confidence also at investors' end. So I think, if anything, 2000, the so-called funding winter of 22 and 23 has taught all the investors is that do not get carried away by sheer potential of an idea. Very, very important to look through the promise, look through the management team, and make sure that proper emphasis has been given on corporate governance. Now, some of them may be, like the challenges that you mentioned through, cyber attacks and a lot of other external factors. Or some of them may be internal as well in terms of the overall mindset of the team, the way governance standards are held. Sometimes there is, cutthroat competition, and because of that, importance is only given to growth at breakneck speed, while compromising the overall governance and hygiene, like financial discipline and others. So we are very, very careful about it at IPV, and that kind of helps us in boosting a very good success rate as compared to the early stage ecosystem where, a success rate of 10% is also considered good. We are at about 50%, right? And that's purely because of following this rule. Talking about this fintech space itself, I think rail guards are very well set. Again, I think we really commend RBI, NPCI, and other institutions which are driving payments over here. Is that while they allow a lot of flexibility, at the same time, I think in the consumer's interest is always protected. And that's what we love about the overall India fintech ecosystem. We've come a long way from the era of only public sector banks to private sector bank, then wallet, then payment banks, small finance banks, and now finally something as disruptive as UPI. So innovation will continue. At the same time, I think we don't hear too much around frauds or Ponzi schemes in some of these newer areas as well. And that's where I think government plays and these institutions play a very good role. But as investors, we have to be careful and make sure that governance is never compromised.
Yes, I'm sure you guys are doing your due diligence. And on that note, I'll have to thank you all because we're completely out of time, and all the best for the way ahead for UPI and the businesses associated with it. Thanks for joining us for today.
Thank you, Gautamji. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
That's all we have in this edition of India Ideas for the moment. But for all the latest, keep watching DD India.